the most important thing that everybody has is time.
Hi, this is Dave Steinberg, and this is the Mortgages Made Easy podcast. I'm delighted to be sitting with Val Matos. Val is a financial professional and just brings a lot of energy and a lot of smarts to the job. Val, tell us a little bit about what you do.
Yes. Hi, Dave. Thank you so much for having me. I am so honored to be here. I am delighted as well. I remember last time we spoke, they always say that you never remember what a person says. You always remember how they make them feel. Right. And I was very delighted to speak with you last time and definitely very honored to speak with you again. And so, yeah, long story short, I just educate individuals on financial literacy. Right. There's a major gap happening in America today where, we have individuals not retiring on time. Actually, 90% of Americans are not retiring on time. We have individuals thinking that a 401k is a marathon. They have no idea how it works. 64% of baby boomers fear outliving their retirement savings more than they fear death itself. So very simply put, I'm just on a mission to close that gap. Of financial literacy between the wealthy and everybody else when it comes to financial education. So we can go ahead and start getting them to advance financially using the right resources, the right education. And that's what I'm here for. And I'm super passionate about it. We're helping hundreds of families in a monthly basis, yearly basis. And we're super, super excited for what's to come.
So tell us a little bit more. If you're talking, how old is your typical client? Let's start with that.
Yeah, it ranges. So we would say the average individual that we sit down with is anywhere from 30 to 45 years old.
Okay.
Right. We do have a ton of services. Obviously, we are striving to make a change to generations. So we definitely love sitting down with your young 20, 25-year-olds because, the most important thing that everybody has is time, right? That's the one thing that they cannot get back. And we've sat with many individuals who are 45, 50, 55, who are, already 30 years within their working field, their occupation, and they're just now realizing that they're not on track to retire. They don't have the right strategies in place, and that's very sad, right? So obviously we do what we can to help them out and help them advance, but we work with anybody and everybody, whether they're young in their 20s, they want to start planning for their future, or maybe they're in their 30s and 40s and realize they haven't been using the right strategies and they want to not only use the right strategies for themselves, but also start using the right strategies for their kids and their grandchildren and things like that. And we also work with professionals who are already retired, right? But, sometimes their life savings are, like I mentioned before, 64% of baby boomers fear outliving their retirement savings more than they fear death itself. So we definitely work with those individuals to go ahead and protect those savings and make sure that they are in the best place to be to protect everything that they've worked so hard to earn during their lifetime.
So what's the key? Well, how do you at 25 or at 30 or at 35, how do you invest so that you don't turn into one of those baby boomers who at 70 years old worries about cat food?
Yeah. So how do you go about starting a strategy or becoming well literate in the financial space? So
Well,
that
yeah.
was that your question?
Well, I mean, what's the foundation stone for your strategy? What's the critical element in making a plan so that you don't outlive your retirement savings?
Yeah. So, it definitely depends on family by family. right? Because we work with very many, many diverse backgrounds and many different individuals. So, it can vary from an individual who's just working their old 9 to 5 and they just want that retirement saving, to working with a business owner who just wants to accumulate the most wealth for him and his family and things like that. So the very first step, and I would say for anybody listening who is just wanting to take that first step of how do I become financially literate? How do I make sure that I know all of the tools? How do I ensure that I'm in the right place? Is just realizing that you don't know everything, right? So it's just asking that first question to how much do I know? Right? There's one thing about knowing that you have a 401k or a traditional retirement plan in place and not knowing anything about it, more or less, a lot of, I would say 99% of the individuals that we sit down with have no idea how much is in their retirement savings plan or whatever the case, the wealth accumulation strategy. So number one is just assess where you're at right now. Right? Go look at that 401k, go look at that IRA, go look at whatever tool you've been using that you think is working so well for you and assess where you are right now. Right? Once you assess and you have clarity on that, then the next step is to research. Right? Research what are some things that you don't like so much about that kind of account, or why aren't you on the right track? And just, contact the individual who may have those resources. Obviously, we have some books and things that we also recommend to our clients and any families that we help. But the first step I would say is just realizing that America is in a financial crisis, which is one thing that many individuals aren't even aware of. So I would say the very first step is awareness.
Okay. And then what's the cornerstone of your strategy? What do you recommend? Because I have the sense that you're not a big fan of 401ks.
Hey, we never want to talk bad about anything, right? And the harsh reality is we never want to talk bad about 401ks or anything like that, because it was created with very well intent. Right. And the very well intent was that, typically in the olden age, right, when individuals are starting the workplace, what was happening is, they had pension plans for everybody. But Dave, let me ask you a question. How many occupations do you know of that really offer pension plans currently?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just
Right.
doesn't happen anymore.
It doesn't happen anymore. Right. So when the 401k was created, it was only meant to be funded as a supplement to a retirement plan, not the sole proprietor to getting someone to where they need to be financially in the future. Right. So what happened over time is pension plans disappeared and we became solely reliant on something that was only meant to supplement the foundation. Right. So now that we don't have that foundation offered to us, then we have to do our due diligence and educate ourselves on what are some ways that we could actually form that firm foundation for ourselves. And if we want to keep that 401k, because 401ks aren't bad, right? You receive your employer's match and it's all great, right? However, it's just not meant to be the number one tool and the firm foundation that individuals use to reach their financial goals in the future.
So if someone wants to get in touch with you and go, what is a session with you? What is it like? What does it take to get started working with Val Matos?
Yeah. So the very first step is we want to do what's in the best interest for every single family, right? There's a ton of services and resources that we offer when it comes to increasing any individual's net worth or getting them in the right spot, whether that's setting up a will or a trust or life insurance or wealth accumulation, tax advantages, all those kinds of things, college funding for kids. So the very first thing we want to assess for a family are what are your financial goals? Right? Are you in a large amount of debt that you want to consolidate first before you start that wealth accumulation strategy in the accounts, right? Is what's important to you protecting all of your assets first, right? Is what's most important to you making sure that your kids are on the right track for college funding or retirement themselves, right? Or is your sole focus on, okay, you have your debt paid off, you have your 3 to 6 months of income saved, and now you're ready to start that wealth accumulation account. So the very first step would be to assess what a family's financial needs are. And that's when we come in, we actually provide complimentary services. We don't charge our families a single penny. And that's how we strive to close the gap between the wealthy and everybody else when it comes to financial education. And we're their financial professional for life. Right. So yeah, so that would be the very first step. I will say I am on social media. I have a personal phone number. You may also contact me via email, which is valnicole7wfg@gmail.com. And we could always get the process started from there.
And we're going to post that, all your contact information down below. Val, this has been a true pleasure. I'm so glad to be able to introduce you to our followers on the Mortgages Made Easy podcast. And this has been a lot of fun. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time. The honor is mine. Thank you, Dave.